Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition. In this edition, we look at this week, which highlights the mental awareness within our globe. Now, you may wonder, what is mental health? Mental health, in a nutshell, encompasses how we think, how we feel, and even how we act. So, in essence, it affects our social being, it affects our emotional being, and it also just affects our mental being. We look at it in terms of how this contributes to our day to day work. Because if we are able to really ensure that we are in the right state of our mental health, then we can be able to interact well and even be able to be prepared to handle life's curveballs as they come our way. But in a large way, we have looked at mental health as if it is some foreign thing that may not happen to us. But research does show us that actually 1 to 5 people are affected by mental health. Now, that in essence means if you are around 5 people in a family, one of us could actually be having a mental health problem. Mental health in itself is a wide range of issues. You're looking at it from the point of having a mental disorder, or being in a state of mental distress, or sometimes being susceptible because of events or trauma that may have occurred because of a lot of times stressors that may have happened in our lives, especially as children. This can eventually go on to reinforce a state where our mental health is in a state that predisposes us to not be able to think and act and even feel the right thing, affecting our moods, making this unstable, affecting how we think about ourselves, reinforcing negative things in our lives and even our actions. Further to this, mental health is contributing to about 1 in 4 people in jail. While we may think that people with mental health issues are violent, they are not violent, but the state of having a mental health problem can actually make you prone and predispose you into an act of crime and put you in jail. And so when we look at mental health, it's important for us to move from the stigmatization of mental health, because a lot of times, many of us, it's like a spectrum. Many of us do, in one way or the other, find ourselves in the mental state that could push us into a mental health disorder or problem. Sometimes we throw around words like anxiety and like you make it look like you're depressed. Well, those in themselves are actually definitions of mental health problems, but that does not mean you do have a mental health problem, because for it to be a mental health problem, it needs to be a sustained state that negatively affects you. So if you are in a depressive mood just because of an incident that has occurred, that in itself is not a mental health problem. But if you are in a depressive mood that is sustained over a long period of time and is affecting you in a negative way, then that is depression that can be considered to be a mental health problem. And a lot of such cases, as you will see, will make you be withdrawn, and you'll find yourself secluded, avoiding social interactions, and having negative thoughts that could impact on how you interact with people, how you think, and how you behave in different situations in life. Another thing we throw about is anxiety. Yes, we can be anxious on and off, but unless this anxiety is up to and such a level that you are worrying, you're even having sleep disorders, you're in a state where you're excessively sweating because of events, and this is affecting your mood and your thinking and your actions, then yes, you can get to a point where you can actually call that anxiety a mental health disorder. And when this happens, these are not light issues, as we do throw them about that I'm anxious and I'm depressed and this is causing me anxiety. When these mental health issues do happen to us, one of the important things to do is to seek help. And the good thing is, society has now become alive to the fact that mental health problems are affecting all of us and are affecting many of us within society. And so it's incumbent on you and even those who are around you, when they see such things, to support you to seek help, because these are things that require medical intervention, and it can be in different forms. For most of these mental health states, you can actually just be able to address it through talk therapy. But there are some which require meditation and stabilizers for your moods, because they do affect your hormones, and you will find that certain hormones, serotonin and different others, have either come down to a really low level, or those are not at stable levels. And we are called upon to seek help when you have these mental problems, because if they are not addressed, the other thing is mental health problems lead to suicide. You can imagine someone having negative thoughts about themselves. They don't feel worth it. And this is sustained for a long period of time. They feel worthless. They feel as if they are not valuable. They are not contributing in any way because of the state of their mental health. When this happens, and this can even be because they had a traumatic event in their childhood which was never resolved, and they have never been able to seek help. Some of these situations lead people, unfortunately, to suicide. And a lot of the suicide cases we are hearing about are purely as a result of mental health challenges. And when we are able to address these issues in good time, when someone seeks help in good time, they're able to get cognitive therapy and many other forms of therapy, including advancement in therapy, which entails use of electromagnetic approaches and different other ways, and mostly medication to stabilize the hormones. Because when this happens, you do realize that the brain has gone through some destabilized state, and some hormones are not at their required state. And eventually, you have symptoms like being withdrawn, you have sleep disturbances, and most of us will find ourselves using substance when we have mental health disorders. And sometimes use of substance will also lead you to a mental health problem. So it's a vicious cycle. Sometimes it's because of economic and socioeconomic challenges, and you will find yourself in a mental health disorder. And sometimes it's because of a post-stress traumatic disorder, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, a PTSD. That will also eventually put you in a state of a mental health disorders. But the good news is there is help out there. And as always, most of the facilities that we see around through our level 5 and level 4 facilities, both at county level and at national level, accord us the facilities for help, to be able to seek help. And the good news is we are now open to it. And even the terminologies have increased within us. And people are talking about it, and we are embracing it. And let us continue curbing and doing away with the discrimination. There's no point to stigmatize anyone who's going through a mental health problem. And these things can be addressed. So as we go through this mental awareness week and the whole month, as we observe this mental health issue, let's go about it with a lot of compassion. Now, as always, I do advocate for compassion, community around those of us who are affected by mental health, because for sure, I know people personally who are journeying with mental health problems, or who have fallen down the way and unfortunately have ended up committing suicide because of mental health. So let's continue embracing people. Let's educate ourselves, and let us shun stigma and do away with the discrimination, and look at mental health as integral to the individual, to society, and to the entire globe for us as those of us who champion chronic conditions through this platform and throughout our society. Thank you very much and see you again soon. Bye-bye.